G'day there, you beautiful people. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Anyway, you know the drill. We're reading some more stories from Reddit, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okie dokie, folks. This one was written on Am I the A-hole? It was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for ruining my brother and his wife's pregnancy news with the news of my recent diagnosis? A bit of backstory. My brother and I are very close. His wife and I not so much. We've had our fair share of tension. Anyway, I fell sick in the middle of May, but held off getting checked out because of COVID and safety reasons. Eventually, when June started, I decided to go check it out. Turns out it was stage 2 breast cancer. I decided to tell my family 2 days ago since lockdown laws have been lifted, so I invited everyone over, and when I told my brother and his wife, he said, okay, that's fine because he has news to share too. So our family gathered and my brother decided to go first. He did ask me, and he announced that his wife is 4 months pregnant. Of course, everyone was overjoyed. After about an hour, they asked about my news, and I knew this was probably the last time in a long while before I had everyone here in person, so I told them. And of course, the initial joyous atmosphere was gone. The rest of the evening was a lot of support for me, and not a lot of attention on my brother and his wife. My brother didn't seem to mind this as he was quite distraught with my news, but I saw his wife pretty upset and cornered off, so I decided to approach her and I apologized for the timing of it all. She told me I could have waited a bit and Skyped everyone with the news, as it's just stage 2, and let my brother and her have this moment with their family. I told her I initially called this meeting for this exact reason, and she said she knows, but I knew my news would damper everyone's mood. So I told her she's being ridiculous and I wanted to tell my family in person, since they are my family after all. And she burst into tears and demanded to go home, which my brother obliged to, even though he was confused. He promised he would come see me soon since he stays close by to me. Later that evening, I get a message from him asking if I told his wife that she isn't part of the family and that I deliberately wanted the attention on me, because that's what she's upset about. Also, the next day, my parents called me to check up on me, and my mum mentioned that my brother's wife called yesterday evening really upset, telling them what I said, and claiming I'm jealous because she's pregnant and I'm trying to ruin her life. I told my parents what actually happened and what I really said, and it's caused not only tension between his wife and me, but my parents and her too, and now she's also blaming me for my parents not being her biggest fans. My brother is torn, but he's been trying to talk to her, which results in more tears and a strain in their marriage. All this drama is making me think that I should have just called everyone up after, or just told my brother that his news had to wait, even though that would have been selfish of me. I really wanted my family's support that day, but I'm starting to rethink whether it was worth all this drama and potentially causing further problems. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? No, as far as I'm concerned, the brother and his wife hijacked that meeting for their own news. As far as I'm concerned, it was OP's meeting in the first place, and she had every right to say why. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole. You called the meeting for your news. Also, if sharing it in person was unimportant, then why couldn't your sister-in-law share the pregnancy news over Skype? Her own reasoning should have been good enough for her. And good luck with your treatment. Not the a-hole. I was so ready to call you the a-hole from the title alone. But you arranged this meeting to break the news of something very serious, and your brother decided that it was time to break news as well. Could you have handled this better? Well, yes, you could have asked him privately what his news was when he said he had something to announce, so that it didn't get awkward like this, but regardless, the blame does not fall on you at all. But the fact is that cancer is, like, a bit more of an important thing to announce than a pregnancy, and the sister-in-law made a huge misstep getting jealous and saying what she did. Skype? Really? She's definitely the a-hole here. There are things more important than a pregnancy, especially because a pregnancy has a lot more of a time frame to announce than a disease you're going to need to get some pretty obvious treatment for. Also, I wish you a good recovery. Opie edits. Wow, I didn't expect this to get so much lovely feedback, and to think I was slightly scared to post this. Thank you all for the unnerving support, love and huggies. I read and am still reading every single comment made, and I really appreciate it. I will most definitely fight through. Thank you all so much. Just wanted to add a few points. When brother told me he had news too, he was really super excited and added it as just, by the way, I'll announce mine too. He did apologise and admit afterwards if he had known what my news was, he would have held off on his, because right now what's important is my recovery. He also admittedly he wrongfully assumed that my news would automatically be good. I'm usually always the happy chirpy one. His wife wasn't too fond of this either. Brother's wife also had a miscarriage beginning of the year, which is why this pregnancy I suppose was extra special. I'm truly happy for them. I just wish she could understand, like one user pointed out, that this isn't a competition. I don't know why I couldn't tell him over the phone. We're really close and I knew it would have crushed him. I couldn't steal him away at the gathering either because he was the last to arrive, and when he did he just quickly mentioned, "Hey Opie, mind if I go first?" And I was frozen on the spot, so I said sure. Also pretty silly on my part. It's hard to explain that feeling where you're absolutely frozen and there's a big lump in your throat that prevents you from speaking, but saying the news in the first place was really difficult to begin with. Edit. Just another point to clarify. I'm not a saint, but my brother does mean a heck of a lot to me. It's exactly why his wife and I cleared the air between us before, because I wouldn't deliberately make his life hell by pissing her off. Hence why when I saw she was upset, I approached her. And when she told me I could have Skyped, I responded with I wanted to tell them in person since they're my family, and they would probably want to be there with me when I broke the news. I never once implied she wasn't a part of it. My brother and parents know this. Okay, an update. 1 month later. Sorry this is so late. A lot has been happening the past month since the news came out, and since I've received a tremendous amount of love from Reddit, I thought it would be only fair to let you all know what happened. First and foremost, I've started treatment. Also one of the reasons I couldn't update sooner. Thank you all for your well wishes. I plan on bouncing back as soon as I can. Anyway, I could see that my brother was under a lot of stress, and I finally sat him down to talk about it properly. He showed me a bunch of texts that his wife sent him, telling him he's a crappy father for choosing me over his family. She said I was seeking attention and nobody cares about her, and one thing that really got to me was that she told him to choose once and for all, and if he picks me, he loses her and his child, and if he picks her, she doesn't want me in their lives at all. I felt terrible, not only for him, but knowing that I could have prevented all of this. I took the time to apologize for putting him in this position, and if I had just pulled him aside soon enough and given him a heads up, he would have truly understood. Brother tells me I shouldn't apologize because he should have been more considerate. He also mentioned that his wife would have probably still gotten mad at him whether they did or didn't give the news on that day. So I decided I should invite her over for coffee to sort out everything. I spoke to her alone. I asked her about everything. She was very cold and didn't really answer, so I started talking first by apologizing if I made her feel excluded from the family or that her pregnancy was of any less importance. I explained that I should have given them a heads up so we could have avoided what had happened altogether, and that was my fault, and that I was very sorry, but I also mentioned that the way she reacted and went to the extent of lying wasn't okay. She then started crying and vented out about how angry she's been, and that my brother always put me first, and recently they've been going through a rough patch, and when he sided with me, it made her even more upset and feel even more lonely. She admitted she lied to my parents and my brother, saying that she was hoping they would show her more sympathy, and when they were cold to her, she got even more upset. After hours of talking, she apologized for how she acted and has been acting, and she would like it if we moved on from this. My brother came later and they both went home. He texted me saying they both spoke for hours and agreed to couples therapy. My parents are currently living with me and helping me out tremendously, but they're not quite happy with my sister-in-law yet. Although they promised to try to work things out, things finally seem to calm down, and let's hope it stays that way. None of this would have been possible without the feedback you all gave me, and I'm indebted to that, so thank you. Edit to add, all of you are so kind, honestly, but I wanted to clarify that I'm no saint, nor am I selfless. I know what happened wasn't entirely on me. However, in order to focus solely on my recovery, I can't be stressed out about this whole situation and have all this tension around me. Seeing my brother being put in that position, and my sister-in-law, as hurtful as she was, being upset and holding hatred can affect herself and the baby. I did what I could to fix things so that everyone can focus on being healthy and being positive without holding any grudges. I know I sure will. I know my sister-in-law, she can be very stubborn and unreasonable, and if I left things in her hands, I'm 99% sure it would have resulted in much, much worse circumstances than me putting the first hand forward. At least now I can focus on my recovery without any distress or toxicity. I'm human. I felt angry. I felt upset, yeah. I wanted to give her a piece of my mind. But in doing so, it isn't helping myself. her, my brother, or my family, only damaging things further. This realization is what prompted me to let it all go and focus on positivity and my mental and physical health. Last edit. I spent all day on Reddit reading every little or big comment made, and honestly I didn't know you could feel so much support from people you never met. You are all amazing humans. Thank you all for the upvotes, comments and awards, and I'll still read every single comment, but this will be my final edit. And for the people who asked, I'm 24. Geez, breast cancer at 24, talk about a short straw. One comment says, imagine accusing someone of stealing the spotlight with their cancer announcements at a gathering they have arranged. She needed therapy like ages ago. Quote, she told me I could have waited a bit and Skyped everyone the news as it's just stage 2 and let my brother and her have this moment with their family. It's such a deranged thing to tell someone who has just been diagnosed with cancer at 24 during a pandemic as well. It's so gross when girlfriends and boyfriends compete with their partner's siblings. Why would you do that? Yeah, it's definitely a common trend in some of these stories. I'm with the commenter, like it doesn't make sense to me either. Maybe you guys can explain. Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, we're leaving that one there and moving on to the next story. Okie dokie, same subreddit. This one was written by user Clarzon and it's titled, am I the a-hole for not chipping in for a Gucci bag or a €3,000 birthday dinner I didn't plan? I, 29 female, and my husband, 35, are part of a close group of friends. We're all in our late 20s to mid-30s. Most of us are married or in serious relationships, and we usually celebrate birthdays together. The usual setup has always been that the birthday person hosts and pays for everyone. But about a year ago, this weird new tradition started. For each birthday, someone opens a WhatsApp group and says, let's all chip in for this really expensive gift. We're talking about things like Hermes flip-flops, Formula 1 tickets, Gucci bags. It's all very public and a bit uncomfortable to say no. My husband and I have always gone along with it, even though it's felt a bit much at times. For example, we paid around €300 towards a €1,500 Formula 1 ticket for my husband's best friend. Let's call him Tom. At the time, it felt okay, but now things are different. We're already parents to one child, we're trying for a second, and we just opened a new business which we fully funded from our own savings. Everyone in the group knows this, including Tom. We're doing fine financially, but we're definitely being more careful. These expensive group gifts are not something we feel comfortable doing anymore. A few weeks ago, it was my husband's birthday. One of the friends asked if I was going to open a WhatsApp group for a gift. I said no, my husband didn't want anything. We hosted everyone for a pool party, paid for everything ourselves, and were happy to do it. For the record, Tom gave my husband a nice bottle of tequila worth around €100. We appreciated it. I'm not complaining at all. I've never judged or compared gifts, and I've been genuinely grateful for every single one, no matter the price. 2 weeks later, it was Tom's girlfriend's birthday. He opened a group chat and said she would like a Gucci bag. I told my husband I didn't want to participate in this one. He agreed. We didn't reply in the group, but we bought her a €120 massage voucher as a gift. Her birthday was held at a really fancy and expensive beach restaurant. We went, enjoyed the event, had fun, and made sure the birthday girl had a blast. A few days later, Tom wrote in the group chat that the bill was €3,000 and said that if anyone would like to contribute, they could. I told my husband I didn't want to chip in. We didn't choose the place. We gave her a gift, and again, we're being more mindful about money right now. He obviously agreed. Then Tom messaged my husband privately and said he expected us to help with the dinner bill since we didn't join the group gift. He said our $100 gift wasn't enough, brought up the fact that we'd always participated before, including for his Formula 1 ticket, and said we were being jerks for not pitching in at this time. I honestly don't understand it. I've never once complained about the gifts we got. I've always been thankful. But suddenly we're being labelled as the rude ones just because we made a different choice this time based on our current situation. What? No way. Sending you the bill after the birthday, when neither of you had made an agreement about payment beforehand, is just wrong. I wouldn't be paying this either if I was OP. One comment says, not the a-hole. You can tell him that you're opting out of the tradition, and since you already had a birthday and didn't ask anyone to pay, that's the proof. Not the a-hole. Serving you with a bill after the fact without informing you before the event that this would be expected is not a fair, friendly move. If Tom wants to buy expensive Gucci bags to his girlfriend and plan $3,000 dinners, that's great, but he can't expect the same level of chipping in from everyone else. It's his girlfriend, not everyone's. If Tom was a good friend, he wouldn't have stepped on multiple boundaries and calling you jerks for not paying for his ideas. Can I ask what lines of work you and your friends are in? This seems quite excessive. She replies, I'm a lawyer and my husband is a real estate broker. We work together and own the company. Our friends are in finance, a doctor, and digital marketing. Yeah, I guess everyone in the group is pretty well off. I have to say, we're all friends for many years and everyone built themselves all alone. No help or favours given. Still, I'm not the type to spend money on expensive stuff I could otherwise spend on my kid or the new business. The bill he wanted us to pay is more expensive than a month of kindergarten for my son. Clarifications, we had absolutely no problem paying for our meal, but for the past decade, the birthday person always paid for the lunch and dinner. We only found out about the high bill a few days later. None of us ever asked anyone else in the dinner party to pay. When we were still young and couldn't afford it, we used to host at home. Okay, now for an update the next day. Hi everyone, I posted parts of this update in the comments of my original post, but I thought it would be better to collect everything into one proper update so it's clear and complete. After reading the comments, my husband and I realised we hadn't been as clear with our friend group as we should have been, so we wrote a respectful message in our group chat with everyone. It said, Hi guys, first of all, we love you all. Just wanted to say we're no longer participating in the group gift tradition. With our growing family and the new business, we're trying to be more mindful with money. We'll always celebrate you in our own way. Thanks for understanding. Most people responded kindly and said they completely understood. Then one couple reached out to us privately and told us they're currently going through IVF. They said they've been feeling very uncomfortable with the pressure of the group gift tradition, but didn't want anyone to know what they were going through. They were afraid that if they opted out, people would ask questions. They were really relieved we spoke up. We also spoke to everyone else individually. Aside from Tom, his girlfriend, and one other couple, everyone was glad to stop the expensive gift tradition. That one other couple preferred the group gifts because they found them more convenient, but they weren't upset at all and didn't cause any drama. They just said they'll go along with whatever the group decides. Tom and his girlfriend, though, didn't take it so well. Yesterday, Tom texted my husband saying our message in the group chat felt passive-aggressive and like we were throwing shade at him. His girlfriend messaged me and said we should have just told her privately that we don't have the money instead of announcing it in front of everyone. She was upset that now the tradition is over. I tried to keep it light and said, No problem, my birthday's coming up and I want a trip to Thailand for my whole family. She didn't respond. To make sure there were no hard feelings, we also sent Tom €200 to cover our share of the food and drinks from his girlfriend's birthday dinner. Then today we spoke with them again and things got even more frustrating. They told us that our decision not to do any group gift or any gift at all for my husband's birthday came off as condescending and inconsiderate, as if we're better than them for not wanting gifts. Apparently it made life harder for everyone. That was never our intention. We just genuinely didn't want anything and were happy to host and celebrate without gifts. As a group, we've now all agreed to go back to the old tradition. The birthday person hosts everyone. When we were younger, that usually meant breakfast, lunch, or dinner at home, nothing over the top. It felt more personal and less stressful, and everyone seems happier going back to that. Lastly, my husband and I have decided to take a step back from Tom. This whole situation made it clear that a lot of people in the group feel like they can't say anything around him without him getting offended. We're not angry, just tired. We want to enjoy our friendships without walking on eggshells. Thanks again to everyone who commented on the original post. You helped us see that we weren't crazy for feeling the way we did. In the end, we think this reset was needed, for us and for the group. Hey, majority rules, right? Let's read some final comments. My friends and I say happy birthday to each other. My friends and I could barely find time to even play together online, even on holidays. I'm not saying I'm envious, but I am envious. The wildest part isn't even the Gucci bag, it's that Tom somehow thinks friendship is a subscription service you can cancel only after you've paid in full. If hosting a party means secretly billing your friends days later, it's not a tradition, it's a scam. Man, I'm too poor to even read this. Wait, you guys have friends? Just kidding. Anyway, guys, that's it for that story, and that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those ones. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.